What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Challenge Conversations. I'm your host, Travis McKenzie, and today I'm excited to welcome my guest, Sheila Brennan. She is the Executive Director of the Maine Sports Commission. Did I get that right, Sheila?
You did, and we can just go with director.
Director. Well, you seem like an executive to me, so we'll throw that in front of it there. And I'm really excited about today's conversation. We've been in the back of the broadcast studio here, chatting away for the last 15 minutes. And if I didn't look at the time, I guess we probably could have just stayed there for hours, catching up and chatting. So I'm really excited to have you join me here today on the show.
Thank you. I am so pleased to be here, and just through my work with the Maine Sports Commission, I've gotten to know just the stories of the Dempsey Center. And so to learn more about how the Maine Sports Commission can help Dempsey Challenge further their reach over the years is part of the goal of this conversation. And I know you and I will be talking for a long time after. So I'm just excited to be here today. Thank you. From my porch. So,
yeah, beautiful spot there. So your story is amazing. You're a Mainer, you're a transplant Mainer, but you've been there for 30 years. You've raised a family. You've got a beautiful place there up by Highland Lake, West Falmouth. You're in the porch there. Tell me about that story. How did you find your way to Maine?
You know, I am proud of my Foxborough roots. I grew up in a very sports-oriented household where a very quiet father was loud on Sundays when the Patriots played, and he actually had a connection to helping bring the Patriots to Foxborough. He was a newspaper editor. So he used his voice through the publication, a small weekly newspaper, and he and his friends banded together and convinced the original owners to consider Foxborough as a hometown. So I grew up just realizing the importance of sports, what it did for us as a family. When my father and I lacked for conversation because he was a very quiet man, sports was our connection. So it became really meaningful in my life. And I also see, you know, through events like the Dempsey Challenge, how sports brings a community together. It helped me find my voice. I grew up playing way before organized sports. I played wiffle ball and two-hand touch football in the street. And you learn a lot without a referee nearby about just how to use your voice and hopefully not end up in the ER, which I did a couple of times. But I was proud of that. I don't know why. Hand injury.
Yeah.
So life took me to Maine through my husband's job. It was a really perfect time in our lives to consider a new place to call home. And when I moved here 30 summers ago, I had no idea what life would hold, but how many rich relationships I would build. And some of those relationships are through my work, which has been in this role for 5 years. I was in tourism in general about 10 years ago, just as the Maine Sports Commission was forming. And like many other states, there was a need in Maine to have a more formal way to learn about sports tourism opportunities, ways to bring new events to Maine. And yet also I have found a significant part of my role is to promote those current events.
Yeah.
Some of them I would consider our signature events, and I don't want to exclude anyone in that category, but I obviously think the Dempsey Challenge is at the pinnacle of those signature events. It is amazing to me to watch grassroots smaller events just take hold and gain new life every year due to the dedication of communities.
Yeah.
And I'm also a big fan of all of the events in Maine that are fundraisers. They're so significant to furthering those missions. So it's an honor to help elevate the messaging. And it's also exciting. I love being on those sidelines and at those start and finish lines. And I really do.
Yeah. And you've been a challenge participant before, and we'll get into that. But I really want to learn more about what the Sports Commission stands for. And you gave us a bit of a quick synopsis there. But I think, to me, well, firstly, I want to agree with you because sports has given me everything good in my life has come because of activity and sport and endurance sport, and my relationship with my family built around sport and playing and continuing that into adult life. And I think that, that's an opportunity that a lot of people take in Maine. it's an active outdoor community. And whether it's competing in road races or taking on the Dempsey Challenge or just getting out and hiking and out in the community, it is really part of what Mainers are all about, that outside time. So I couldn't agree more. But tell me more about the Sports Commission and the work that you do.
Sure, thanks. So in order to learn about new event opportunities, typically I, the Maine Sports Commission, attend 2 trade shows a year to meet with event organizers and owners who are looking for where to place their next event, whether it's a tournament, a road race, a cycling event. So it's really all about relationships. I've learned that this is not a quick sale. Maine is an easy product to promote. Look at what we have here in our state with natural assets, beautiful state-of-the-art facilities. And however, some of these events, it just takes a while to, build that relationship, find out how we can meet their needs, and whether it's a one-time event or a returning event, really build that relationship to create a partnership. And there are many other ways to find out about those event opportunities. So this summer, because of travel being limited for keeping our community healthy, I am right now attending a virtual trade show.
Right.
And we are a member of an organization called Sports ETA. So all of the commissions around the country build this member organization. And it was kind of neat. I knew we would need to pivot to a virtual, and one of the leaders of the organization just called me to kind of pick my brain and help shape the event. And I said to them, if there's a way to create a virtual happy hour of some level, when you leave a trade show floor, it's where so many conversations take place.
Yeah.
So it's been fun to help build that experience. And someday we'll all be in the same place again. But right now, it can be very effective. Similar to how the Dempsey Center had to look at other ways to provide resources.
Yeah.
So many industries have, I think they're the silver linings right now. I am a fan of silver linings. We've learned how much we can do from our own zip code.
Yeah.
I've barely put miles on my car this summer. If I do, it's to go for a hike, go get a walk in at the ocean. And so, yes. And what I find with the Sports Commission is we have evolved to include messaging around outdoor recreation.
Yeah.
Because I think there are 2 reasons. One is that come to mind. One is this state is, as you said, it's just poised for outdoor activity, and our commission encourages healthy, active lifestyles. So I'm a big advocate for people just getting those experiences, and even if you go to an event, you don't have to be a rider, a runner, or a walker. I hope years from now, if I'm not walking, I'm on the sidelines, maybe working a water station or cheering on the finishers. I just feel like there's that connectivity for community through sport. And it's been really exciting. There's a new office in Maine within the last 2 years, the Office of Outdoor Recreation. And the director is Caroline Millette, and she is one of our founding board members. And she and I have engaging conversations to find out how we can support each other's work. So I do feel like, there are certain activities in Maine that are unorganized, yet if we have children on bikes or children paddling in kayaks, those are lifetime activities. Yep. Leading to better health, lower incidence of obesity, and some of those people, they may not do an ultra, your event coming up, ultra, but they will be signing up for some of the events we put on in the state.
Yeah.
So activity leads to engagement in competition, whether it's through school recreation sports or an event in your hometown.
Yeah, I think it's beautiful. I think that sport really gives that sense of achievement. There's the social element, social skills. You learn so much about your body and how it moves, and get connected to that part of your life that I think sometimes we lose. So it's really encouraging to hear that that is a focus. I loved your idea about silver linings, and I think that we've talked about it on this show before, and we've talked about it across all of our channels, the ability for us to reimagine the Dempsey Challenge this year and open up that opportunity to a global audience is unprecedented. We will have we have shared this amazing heat map from around the world where our participants are coming from this year. And it's almost every country you can think of around the globe is a part of our Dempsey Challenge family, which wouldn't have happened as fast if it wasn't for what we're going through. And the other thing that you mentioned that I wanted to highlight really is about getting those people together in the community. So if you're not a walker, or a rider, or a runner, we've really valued our volunteers before. So we've had volunteers who come year after year and they lend their time and support to the challenge. So we're hoping to find ways to re-engage them and have them engaged as well, because the challenge, every other event that you work with couldn't happen without volunteers. So they're a big part of our community as well. So we always want to acknowledge them.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Now, tell me about your challenge participation and your history with the challenge.
Yes. So I believe I've been to the challenge, I want to say 5 years in a row. I might have been at a wedding 1 year. I was. So 4 years during my 5 years in this role. And some years I went alone. Some years I went with others. And I had already toured the Dempsey Center and just was amazed by what is offered there. And just, I'm a big believer in what the center does. And so I just wanted to learn more.
Yeah.
And so being at the challenge, just to see that morning come together, the opening ceremonies, the groups of people dressed alike, the signs, and the news center team who does that great job on the stage, and then Patrick takes the stage, and he comes across like he's everyone's friend. He's got that sincerity that they're those main roots. You just got to love that about him. And I watched 1 year, I'll never forget. I think I was there by myself that year. There was a group of women who were hoping that a friend of theirs was going to join them from one of the southern states. It might have been Georgia. And because of cancer, she couldn't be there. And they told their story. They were in line to start the walk.
Yeah.
And Patrick said, it was, I don't know, 8 o'clock in the morning. Patrick said, well, let's call her. So he did a call with this group of women. They're all, all excited. They call their friend from Maine to the South. Talk about her knowing, wow, they have my back.
Yeah.
These women are all walking from me, and now, Patrick's engaged with his team. And that is just one of so many stories I've heard or witnessed. I also really like the college challenge.
Mm-hmm. College Cup.
The College Cup.
Yeah.
Just such a great, I hate even to say strategic, but just a wonderful way to get kids, college-age students involved and understanding the importance of what the Dempsey Center does for Maine and ways they can, give back. And, and who doesn't love a little competition?
Right.
So it's just great to see that.
Yeah.
And so it's been the year I walked. So I walked 1 year with my twin sister. She has now moved from the West Coast. People mistake her for me in the state of Maine. So that's been pretty interesting in the last 2 years. And we walked together. And it's hard to even describe the emotions. Mm-hmm. I went through walking. Sometimes you just feel like you want to be quiet or you need to be. The bridge with the flags over my head. Yeah. The names along the way, just so many touching moments. And then the survivors. Yeah. I remember 1 year, I just felt like, okay, I think I've gotten my experience. Maybe it's time to head back home. And then I realized the survivors walk was assembling, and I thought, I'm not going anywhere. And I just stood there in awe as they all gathered. And so I make sure I'm there for every aspect of this when I go. And so this year I'm doing Dempsey Challenge Reimagined.
Yep.
And being of competitive nature, though I wasn't a great athlete, but I have just got this almost to the ridiculous degree, very competitive. I saw the doubling your donations campaign. So for the Maine Sports Commission, I was excited to promote that. And so I believe I created my fundraising page at 10 of midnight the night before to make sure that everybody in my circle knew, okay, guys, game on. We've got 24 hours to pull this off. And I was so excited to be one of the first 100 to raise $100. Thank you to my mother, Paula Brennan. She was on it. And within a week, I've raised more money than I've ever raised for any other organization.
Amazing.
So, and what I loved too, you're talking about that global aspect of Dempsey Challenge Reimagined. It meant so much to me to receive donations, not just from my circle in Maine, from an aunt on Cape Cod, from an uncle in Florida who lost his first wife to cancer, from a family friend in Foxborough. I thought, that's what the world is all about. It's not about this borders of Maine. It's about giving back.
Yeah.
So every dollar meant so much, but the fact that people who won't benefit from the Dempsey Center in Maine, they know how much this place means to me and how much this mission means to Mainers. So
what a beautiful story. I have goosebumps hearing your story and the feelings and the emotions that come up for you around that. And I think that we had a couple of comments, so I'm going to share a couple because it's really impactful. We had the Orange Dragons team here talking about nothing like the Dempsey Challenge, and it's an absolutely amazing experience. Debbie, who's a big fan, and she's been such a great supporter this year, was hoping to have her first experience at the challenge this year, but she's all in on the virtual experience, so that's great to hear.
Yes.
The double the donation day, it was amazing to see. So honestly, Sheila, we had put that out there. The goal was that we would have people, raise $100 and they double their donation. And we started at midnight, and the first hour was like nothing we've seen before. It was 12:01, 12:02, 12:03, 12:04. People were up wherever they were in the middle of the night. My first donation came from a friend in Houston. He was the guy that got me across for my $100. So it was just this incredible day. Stay tuned. There's more of those to come, so we can try and do that again. But that was one of the biggest days of fundraising we've had as the challenge in the history. That one day, July 17th, where we raised $30,000 in a day. So it was super impactful. And as you mentioned, it was a chance to share the story. So many people are impacted by cancer, unfortunately. And while they may never have a chance to visit the center at the physical location, they understand, as you said, the value and the need of what we're providing at the center, and they can acknowledge that and support. So it's really beautiful. And I know that you have other stories that you shared with me about some interactions you've had at certain events and experiences with Patrick and the center and the mission. So I'd love to hear those as well.
Sure, thanks. Another story that stands out from a year I was there as an observer, as cheering on people. I saw a woman receive the Amanda Dempsey Award, and that's such a special time of the Dempsey Challenge celebration. And this woman, I hope I'm saying her name right, I want to call her Christina. She is a force to be reckoned with, increasing the awareness around pancreatic cancer.
Yeah.
She's a survivor, and so I follow her on social media now. We had this really impactful conversation after she received her award. Actually, it was before she received her award. I liked her style. We kind of connected. Then she received the award, and we gave each other a hug at the end of that day. And because of the work I do with the Maine Sports Commission, I follow her on social media. I think I don't miss a post of hers because she is just out there with messages of positivity, increasing, the awareness around just early detection, because pancreatic cancer is one of those more of a hidden, really tough disease to track and trace. But I just think so highly of her. And I love that award and the center is because of Amanda Dempsey. So, so I'm a big believer in letting meetings happen by chance. You know, it's kind of funny when you're at the Dempsey Challenge to see Patrick. I mean, I'm sure he's used to this, but he's followed around the field, and it's funny to watch. And so, you know, I just hadn't had a chance to meet him, and you know, year after year, and I thought, well, some year I'll meet him because my work does, you know, intersect with his mission, and it'll happen someday. So at the Chamber of Commerce, the Maine State Chamber of Commerce dinner last November, a wonderful annual reception that the organization puts on, all the living governors of Maine were on the stage, and they all received awards. And then Patrick was invited to the stage. He gave this compelling overview of the mission of the Dempsey Center. He was recognized for the work he and his family started through this amazing place. And then before and afterwards, there was kind of a meet and greet. So there were people in line before, which I wasn't aware of. I was at my table having a great conversation with Ray Ruby of the Maine Cancer Foundation. I think very highly of their work, and I know there's obviously an alignment with your organization and them. And so after the event, the line formed again to meet Patrick, and the line stopped at my table. And Ray Ruby looked at me and he said, "Sheila, you're just going to have to get in line." I said, "All right, I guess I do." So I was the last person in line.
Yeah.
And when I reached Patrick, we had a very nice conversation, you know, brief, just I told him how much I admire the work of the Dempsey Center. I might have slipped in a little Grey's Anatomy reference. And we just had a great little chat. Well, then, as I was leaving, I realized that the table behind me the entire evening was all the associates from the Dempsey Center. They had been sitting behind me the whole evening. So as I was leaving, I made my way to their table. And when I said my name, half of them just kind of recognized my name from email and, you know, my help with promoting the event every year. So this circle of women has formed. I'm in the circle. Patrick returned from media interviews, you know, and at that point, it's the end of the evening, you know, everybody's ready to, the place is disassembling, and I'm usually the last person out of places. I don't mean to, but it just happens because of stories. So I'm having this great conversation, and Patrick joins the circle, and then he looks around the circle realizing, oh, there's someone here that doesn't work for me. And he's like, "What are you doing here?" And I said, it was really funny. "I'm just chatting with your team."
Yeah. And
we just had this great, you know, continued enjoyable chat. You know, Patrick and the Dempsey Center team. The beginning of my conversation with the women was, they asked me where I work, and I said, "Oh, Screen Porch, West Falmouth, there's a lake at the end of the street." And they said, "We want to come to your house." I said, "Well, why don't we have a meeting at my house sometime?"
Yeah.
So someday that may happen. You never know, an offsite. I'm happy to host. Yeah. So yes, there's just, you know, what Patrick and his family have done, taken such an emotional, really tough situation in their family, and talk about philanthropic, giving of their time, and not letting go of that mission. You know, it's been years now. So, but that's the story that comes to mind. So thanks for letting me tell that one. It was pretty funny.
I can just imagine. I could. You had me there. I was standing in the circle with you. I can just tell it. I can hear it all, and I know what you guys would have been talking about. And one thing that I will mention is obviously Patrick and the family did an amazing job in starting and getting the Dempsey Center going and underway. But one thing that I'm so proud of is how the team fosters that mission and continues it on a day-to-day basis, and the effort and energy and responsibility that the entire team at the Dempsey Center takes to furthering that mission makes me so proud to be a part of, and see that then come to life in a community event like the Dempsey Challenge. It makes all the work and time and energy and effort worthwhile. And you work with event organizers all the time. Sometimes it's a grind. We're 44 days away from the virtual challenge, and it feels like we've been at it for months and months and months, and it feels like we still have time, but it's really around the corner. but knowing the result and of the effort and the energy makes it, as I say, makes it all worthwhile.
And you know, the other story that came to mind, and I can't imagine the work that goes on behind this. It seems like it's seamless the day of the event, and that is such a well-run event. There's a story, the cyclist named Freddie.
Freddie Rodriguez.
So Freddie and I, as Patrick was being chased by people, I thought, oh, I want to go meet Freddie. And Freddie and I had this really, really great heart-to-heart. We both were in tears at one point about their giving bicycles to schools in Maine.
Yeah. Just
every, you know, some of those behind the scenes stories that not everybody would be aware of.
Yeah.
And yes, and the team at the Dempsey Center, who are the boots on the ground.
Yeah.
They really are.
I'm glad you mentioned Fast Freddie and his mission, because there's so many, that in itself is amazing, but there's so many of those stories that we need to do a better job of bringing to light. And it's, you know, it is one of those things where there's so much, you know, there's only so many resources and time and allocation we can put to certain things, but there's so many of those stories that I wish more people knew about, because it's not just the challenge, it's not just the center, it's every person's story that goes along, makes this beautiful collage of a community. And yeah, I'm proud to be a part of it.
I'm happy you're a part of it. And the small role I play, I'm happy to help shine a light on any of those stories and just keep helping to elevate the messaging and getting more people to beautiful Maine to come experience an amazing event.
Yeah. Well, I think that we have lots and lots to talk about offline. You and I think can come up with some really creative ideas. I love the idea of how do we bring more people to Maine. It's the greatest place on earth, so more people need to see it. I know that this year it's not possible. Hopefully next year we're going to have a real life in-person event again. We're going to get Debbie to town. We're going to have everyone come together. And I think that the more people we can have experience the weekend in person will be great. But I think a pretty good replacement this year is our reimagined virtual event as well. So I'm happy.
Absolutely.
Happy you're a part of it this year. I
am too. It's been exciting, and I know I still have, a solid 6 weeks to raise. So
yeah,
I'll be nudging some of my friends and family some more.
Absolutely. Sheila, this has been great. I really appreciate your time. I appreciate your energy and dedication to what we're doing and across the board in making Maine the spotlight for many other events and making it a place that people want to come and visit. So how can people learn more about the Sports Commission and the work that you do if they're interested?
Oh, thanks. I would welcome anyone to visit our website. We just had it redesigned in April, and it's just simply mainsportscommission.com. Typically, our events calendar is full. These days, most of those events are virtual or reimagined. And people will see that there's other information there. If it's an event organizer, some of our venues are listed. And my favorite part of the website is sideline stories. So we invite guests who have a tie to sports and recreation to share the positive aspect of sports on their lives. When life changed in March, I was on a mission to run sideline stories every week. And it's hard for people to set aside time to write. We've only missed 1 week.
Awesome.
It used to be biweekly, but sometimes it would fall by the wayside and be monthly. And I thought, no, this is such an essential time to keep positive news at the forefront. So there are absolutely opportunities you and I can talk about tomorrow. People's stories from the Dempsey Center will help, just increase the awareness through September. And obviously we're big users of social media. So anyone who wants to follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and good old Twitter, I welcome them all. So thank you.
Over there. No, my pleasure. This has been fantastic. As I say, I feel like we can talk forever, and I look forward to connecting offline tomorrow. So go check out mainsportscommission.com. I shared the link in the notes there. Go and check out on social media. I'm going to go and read some of those sideline stories. I think there's going to be, I have my brain's running with people we can include in that over the next 6 weeks here. So yeah, I look forward to it. Look forward to following your journey over the next 6 weeks to get ready for the challenge and participate.
Good luck with yours. Yours is amazing.
Working on it.
Your stories, I'm very impressed. Sometime we'll meet on my porch.
Yeah, I'd love that. That'd be great. Well, yeah, I'll hold you to that for sure.
Thank you.
Thanks, Sheila. Thank you so much. Everyone will be back in 2 weeks for more challenge conversations. So I look forward to joining you then, and all the best. Take care.
Thank you. Thanks for the invitation. Take care.
Thanks, Sheila.